Friendship is one of the core themes of Kingdom Hearts, which is why Sora, the character most associated with the theme, is the hero of the story.
I don't need a weapon. My friends are my power.
This is one of the most iconic phrases in the series, the very basis of Sora ideals, and one of the defining aspects of his character. And it makes sense that Sora would base his ideals around the concept of friendship, since his powers come quite literally from his connections. Sora's ability to dual wield comes from the very first bond he made, Ventus. Because Sora took Ventus' heart into his own, it gave him the unique ability to wield two Keyblades at once. However, Sora was not able to unlock this ability on his own. It wasn't until Sora's nobody Roxas returned to Sora that he was able to awaken to the ability. It took two incredibly important bonds for Sora to obtain this fantastic power. His first bond to bestow the power, and his other self to unlock it. Limits and team attacks as well are amazingly powerful moves that Sora can perform by working together with his friends, as they are a physical representation of Sora's bonds. Most importantly of all, there is the Keyblade itself, Sora's iconic weapon that he first attained thanks to his connection with Riku. When Riku indulged in his selfish desires and foolishly gave into darkness to obtain freedom, Sora was the one who reached out to him. By reaching out to Riku, Sora was able to touch Riku's light and obtain the Keyblade that was meant for Riku, as Riku could not wield it while consumed by the darkness. By reaching out to his closest friend, Sora was able to achieve a weapon that could save everyone! Sora's powers are not the only thing that have been shaped by his bond, but his very destiny is the result of the connections his heart has made. Sora's bond with Ventus is not only the first connection he made, but the very reason Sora's destiny is being entangled with so many. When Ventus' heart was fractured by Xehanort, he was left to die peacefully on Destiny Islands. Sora was born the same night Ventus was left to die peacefully on Destiny Islands. Sora's new heart was able to reach out to Ventus and offered to merge with Ventus' heart in order to repair the damage. It was because of this very bond gained through an act of pure kindness that Sora's destiny became forever linked with Ventus, and he became the hero who connects everyone. But there is a major flaw with Sora's understanding of the power of friendship. It can be seen when comparing his words to that of his predecessor Ventus. Whenever Sora speaks of his ideals, he simply says, "My friends are my powers." But when Ventus talks about his ideals, he says,
"My friends are my power, and I'm theirs!"
And thus the flaw in Sora's understanding is revealed. Sora does not see himself as his friend's equal, but rather he sees himself as beneath his friends. He believes that all his strength comes from them because he sees himself as a weakling who needs them in order to move forward. Even in his friendship speech from Dream Distance, he fails to acknowledge his own worth, only showing pride in his connections, not himself. And while this speech was capable of scaring Xigbar away, the words' impacts don't last, as when they meet again, Xigbar has found the weakness in Sora's speech.
I don't admire one guy leaping into danger if it means someone else might have to jump in to save him. You're all just lining up to lose out, dooming others to take the fall with you. Oh, and you can spare me the usual party line. Yes, hearts are powerful when they're connected. But if you put too much of that power in one place, some of those hearts might end up breaking.
Well, yes, it is wonderful that Sora draws strength from his connections and has pride in them. It is a mistake for Sora to not see himself as an equal to his friends, since by doing so, Sora fails to acknowledge his own strengths. After all, while Trinity is powerful with Donald and Goofy by his side, Sora is still capable of performing the attack on his own in KH2. Not to mention there are the battles against Riku Ansem, Marluxia, Roxas, Luxord, and Anti-Aqua, all of which Sora fought alone and won. It was Sora, and Sora alone, who saved Ventus' life, giving him a second chance and waking him up from his birth by sleep. Not to mention, while Sora draws strength from his friends, they too gain strength from him. After all, Donald can't perform Flare Ferris without Sora, and Goofy can't perform Goofy Bombarda without Sora. Sora is finally able to learn this truth during the events of the Second Keyblade War, where he loses everything. After the Heartless tear his friends away from him one by one, Sora falls to despair and finally admits that he believes he's worth nothing without his friends. But thanks to Riku's encouragement, Sora is reminded of his inner strength and faces one of his greatest challenges, alone. After expiring to the darkness, Sora traversed the final world to bring his fragmented selves back together, and then with all his heart, used the power of waking beyond his intended purposes to defy death itself in order to bring his friends back to life and reverse the events that brought about their defeat. For a long time, Sora was supported by those around him, and now finally in gratitude, he, on his own, broke the very laws of time, death, and destiny to bring them all a second chance at victory. Sora learned that he gives his friends strength just as much as they give him. Now understanding this truth, Sora's ideals were at last complete, allowing him to fight in the Second Keyblade War, defeating all the Seekers of Darkness alongside his friends, and bringing back those they've lost, ending with Light and Darkness' final clash, where even with the almighty power of Kingdom Hearts on his side, Xehanort alone was no match for a Sora who completely understood and embodied what the power of friendship meant, unleashing the ultimate Trinity Limit! Remind is the ultimate test of Sora's growth. It is thanks to Sora's connections with the other Guardians that Sora is able to traverse the past in order to bring Kairi back, as he travels through these connections in order to go back in time, all while bestowing them with his own strength in their times of need, such as helping Roxas reclaim the sigil from Xemnas, giving Riku the strength to combat the Xehanort replicas, and giving Mickey support in his greatest hour. Through his journey to save Kairi, Sora proves that he truly understands the power of friendship, cultivated in him and Kairi fighting together against the final Xehanort replica, and finishing off with all his friends, where Sora one last time utters these iconic words, now truly understanding their meaning, with all his heart!
My friends are my power!